Stephanie Cochran. I am the Executive Director for the Green Shoe Foundation, and this is Green Shoe Conversations. And today I am so excited. We have a very special guest joining me. And no, it's just not Amanda Nealon, who's actually decided to join us for our podcast, but I've got Chad Watts from Scars and Stripes Coffee. Chad, thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. We're so excited. And Amanda, I really am excited you're on with me as well.
Thank
you guys know she is our social media and marketing guru. And Amanda, you actually found Scars and Stripes.
Yes.
Yes. So kind of tell me a little bit about how you found them, and then I'm going to turn it over to Chad.
Well, so to be fair, I did not know about Scars and Stripes. I was at a off-road overlanding event at Edmond Pickup. And I ran into Brad, who I believe is a squad leader, who can correct me if I'm incorrect. One up. Okay. But anyways, he was talking briefly about the coffee, but for about a good 10 minutes, he was talking about the team and the importance of asking the tough questions, like, how are you really doing? And I was like, what is this guy talking about? Are we talking about coffee or what's going on? But then he started talking about the importance of his team's well-being and mental health. And I was like, whatever this guy is selling, I'm buying, because I've never heard about people really actually caring about someone's mental health before the product that they're selling. So so I was hooked. So I met Brad and been hooked to Scars and Stripes coffee ever since.
Yeah.
So.
And then that led to a conversation, and I got to meet you, Chad, and it was just such, I don't know, it's an awesome experience just to hear you talking your passion. And I want you to tell us all about you, first of all, who you are, and then how Scars and Stripes came about.
Well, I appreciate actually you saying Scars and Stripes. It's interesting. As we've progressed and evolved, we started out as Scars and Stripes Coffee, and we are, but we're really not a coffee company. As Amanda said, we're really a reintegration from active duty to civilian life in that world. I got to know veterans. I'm a civilian, but I grew up across the street from Tinker Air Force Base, and I always just saw, people in uniform, and I was like, man, those guys are just giants. And I feel like I walk on the shoulders of giants, and it's such a blessing. And, throughout my life, I just felt like, hey, you go to the military, you serve, and you get out and everything's well. Everything's fine. I mean, I saw people coming back with, amputated legs and things like that. So that's pretty tough. There's a lot of burn, but for the most part, you don't see, a lot of things going on. And as I started working in my career, I work as an independent contractor at the VA in Oklahoma City. So I go in, I'm going to surgery, and I'm an implant rep. That's what I am. So I kind of got more and more to know about veterans there, and talking with them, interacting with them. And it's like, I kept seeing this kind of a down kind of look when they would come to the VA, but when they got around to one another, they lit up. And I thought, man, that's what's going on here. There's something under the surface that I don't know. And so one of my good friends is my business partner, Brad Dean, who is a veteran. And I talked with him a little bit. I didn't even know he was a veteran. He's National Guard. So I got to know him as a civilian, really. And then as I got to know more about him, I saw him in uniform one day. I said, what do you have a uniform on? He goes, well, that's his guard weekend. And so I got to know a little bit more. And he's a Black Hawk helicopter pilot. He's had 2 tours in Iraq. And you start to talk a little bit more about it. I said, Brad, do you have trouble sleeping? And at night, he goes, well, yeah. And I said, well, what's the deal? And he goes, you wouldn't understand. I've been in two tours, but we'll just leave it at that, and I said, okay. But he would laugh, and he would, joke, and he was just always in a good mood. And so one day I called Brad up, and I was like, hey man, we're both sales guys. What if we built a sales team made completely of veterans, and then use that as a platform to network with, healthy reasons to get together? And he's like, I don't know if this will work. And I said, well, let's give it a shot. Let's give it a go. And it kind of rested for a little bit. And I started mulling over, what would we sell? And coffee is just it's the second most consumed beverage after water, right? And so in the military, it's one of the staples. If you don't drink coffee going in the military, you're probably going to drink it going out. So I thought, well, everybody can relate to that. Can we find a high quality product that people would want to buy? And then would we get enough veterans to get involved that would want to start putting together another military type structure outside the military? And we're 3 years in and it's working. I mean, it's not a proof of concept anymore. It's working. And that's what's exciting about it, is that I kind of felt like, we're not a multi-level marketing. We are a network marketing, but we're a single level. So that means everybody gets their own code within the website. The veterans do. You have to be a veteran to join. And we're okay law, because they're a protected class. You can hire only veterans if you want. So anyway, everybody gets their own code. They get 20% commission on whatever they sell based on their link, people going to their website. And so in addition to that, and this is the big thing, is what I noticed that is there's a cognitive engagement issue, meaning veterans get out of the military, and a lot of times what you see is they'll engage, and then they go to their civilian job. And what happens is they have a different language, they have a different sense of urgency, they have a different teamwork. And so something will happen at work, and they'll get twisted and say some salty language, and then they kind of get referred to their manager. Their manager typically is younger than they are and definitely hasn't seen a lot of things that they've seen. And so then they get angry, and so they leave and they withdraw. They go to another job. They try. The same thing happens. And what happened is there's nothing healthy. A lot of times there's not really anything healthy for them to plug into to then get into a military structure that they recognize, and that they have a squad leader. We'll use Army terms because we're in Oklahoma and there's heavy Army. It doesn't apply to all of them, but everyone kind of understands the nomenclature. But so we use the rank structure so that now we have teams that have come on as team members. Then they gain rank to squad leader, platoon leader, and then first sergeant. So as you were saying, Amanda, Brad Cotton's a first sergeant. He's been here since almost day one, and he's just phenomenal. I can't tell you how awesome the man is. And it I always say, if you can pour out honey on the top of a hill, and that honey is as sweet and as pure as it is when it gets to the bottom, you're doing something right. And that's what we try to achieve here is that that mentality all the way through. And he's just awesome. So
yeah, he was awesome to listen to, even for that brief point of time. So it was really great. I know when we talked earlier, I think Stephanie's going to touch on this a little bit, but you were fantastic at explaining the difference between empowering veterans and supporting veterans, and the difference of that. So I'd love for you to kind of touch on that a little bit.
There's going to be some trigger points here, but I'm going to go ahead and say it because you might as well. And this is not my words. This is the veterans that are involved words. Unfortunately, over the last 20 years, we've set up kind of a veteran welfare state of mentality, and unfortunately what you see is, and I'm not saying disabilities, those things, you get what you deserve. You should go get those things. You should look into those things. Unfortunately, what's happened is we've set up a system where it's like you have to continue to almost not be well to continue to get the things that you deserve. And that's just wrong. And so when you look at the last 20 years, and we've said support, well, what happens with that is it's not a willingness to say, you take the willingness to work away, and you basically turn back what it is that makes you worthwhile. So if you take someone's worth away, you take their life away. And that's just plain and simple. So what we said was, you know what, we're not going to support anyone with this organization. There are organizations that do a very good job at that. But what happens is, once you figure out that, hey, there's no way I can go sell coffee. There's no way I can get involved in this. I don't have time for it. This is not what I want to do. But once you get plugged in, and once you start to get around your brothers and sisters, you see that it's not a gimmick, that it does work. Before you know it, not only are you selling coffee, you're going on live podcasts and you're talking about it, because it's really a transfer of passion is what it is. Once you get a better communicator, and that's what we're doing is how do we facilitate a veteran becoming a better communicator in a civilian world? Once that happens, you get opportunity. And once opportunity happens, network happens, and you get confidence. And that's what we're seeing. And that's the tremendous part about there's two different things between supporting somebody and empowering. And if support worked, great, we should be doing it. But the top 5 things that we deal with, which is high suicide, high unemployment, high divorce rate, homelessness, high drug and alcohol abuse, if support was working, those would be going down. If anything, they've remained the same and maybe gone up a little bit. So we're going to require something different for our veteran community to plug into. And this didn't exist till this started. So, and it's working. It's not a handout. That's what I can say about it. And you're going to be challenged. I'll just say that. But once you get challenged and you plug in and you believe in it, everything in your life starts to get better. And I can't tell you, if you're a better communicator by selling coffee, guess what? You're going to communicate with your kids better. You're going to communicate with your spouse better, your coworkers better. And all of a sudden, hey, I'm getting promoted at work. I can't believe it. Or, hey, I found a better opportunity. And that's what's fun about it. That's what's amazing about it. So
yeah, absolutely.
I love how in the beginning you talked about we started this company and oh my gosh, it's amazing, it's working. And you're not talking about coffee sales when you say that. And that's what I love about it. You're talking about people. And like you said, that empowering people and how it's growing, because it's not just here in Oklahoma that you're doing this.
That's right.
That's
right. We're in about 40 states.
Yeah.
And what's amazing is when you see people's, and a lot of times I don't know about them, so we'll get a new team member and all of a sudden I'll look at the sales for the month and it'll be like, who's Doug out here in New Jersey? All of a sudden they're selling $2,000 worth of coffee a month. Like, how did that happen? Well, I don't know, but it's, and oh, by the way, Doug we're looking at him as a promotion pretty soon. He just got another, Amanda's out there. She's signed on and he's been really mentoring her and doing a good job and building these teams. Because ideally we can put these little coffee teams in every little corner of America. That's what's cool about it. I don't care where you're from. You can go to a pancake breakfast. You can go to, I don't care where, just get together and reconnect and do it in a healthy way. And it's absolutely, we set it up to be so simple, so easy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'm going to interrupt really quick. We are going to have a guest release for like in 2 minutes. I'm going to go get my kid. He's crying. It's like, these go unedited. So these are very real life.
That's great.
Give me a second.
No, and I think one of a serious moment and kind of very sobering. I was in a conference last week, and it was all about VA services. And a statistic that I've heard before, it was not a new statistic, but the fact that it is still a true statistic is the fact that the highest death rate for both veteran and active military is suicide right now. It's not, accident, or it's not something that happens while you're in active duty. It's suicide. And I know we just came off of September being, National Suicide Awareness Month, which I don't like those. I want it to be every day needs to be suicide awareness, but especially in our veteran community, it's a crisis. And so
here's what's frustrating is that here's the reason that you don't see a lot of suicide in active duty. There's accountability. There is an accountability system in the military. There's a buddy system that works. But when you get out, and so here's the hard facts are that you have a lot of veterans that go in basically leaving a bad home. And then the military is a family.
Right.
And we do an extremely good job at being a family. But when you decided that that's no longer for you, you want to go and do something different, you're left out in the cold. I mean, and I'm not disparaging against the VA. They are overwhelmed, as you say. And a lot of times there's more suicide than just the direct suicide, because you get into a behavior of, I'm going to go ride this motorcycle and I'm going to go 100 miles an hour. And, if it happens, it happens. Or I'm going to get this bottle. I'm going to drink till I get to find the bottom of it. And if it, that's what just breaks your heart. The other thing that breaks your heart is September is Suicide Awareness Month. Okay, great. We're aware of it. What the heck are we doing about it?
Right.
Let's put some action involved. And unfortunately, or fortunately, there we are. Look at that guy. Golly, can you feed him a little bit, Amanda?
No, I don't feed him at all.
He looks hungry.
Oh.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, hi, bub.
Of course, the hair's on point.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's ready for GQ magazine.
Possibly. He's going to be tall enough.
Great.
Awesome.
That's great. But no, so Steph, that's what's frustrating. And a lot of times you get into these things and I've been on calls, and I'm just hitting some hot buttons here for me. I've been on calls about, how bad it is and what we need to do. And we need to bring a portal together so that everybody knows where the resources are. And it's like, okay, but what's the action items? That's great. If someone wants to go find a resource on where to go find a counselor, they're there. Mm-hmm. Something's missing in the fact that some people, we call it, it's funny, I was talking to one of our top reps the other day, and I say, let's outrun the devil, right? So if you're busy enough, if you're cognitively engaged enough, and you're going to events and you're doing this, and you got your squad leader calling you on Monday morning muster, and you're dragging people in, and you're outrunning it, and this guy said, you know what? There was a time where I was outrunning the devil, and then finally I just said, screw it. I turned around and ran right at him. And I thought, man, that is amazing. That's where you truly go to, I think, another level, and that's kind of changed my thinking and thinking, if you're becoming a first sergeant, if you're, platoon leader, maybe you're running at the devil at that point. It's just, so yeah, you're right. It's high, and it's I can't even imagine coming out of COVID and the lockdowns we had, what the numbers are going to be staggering in terms of where we're at right now. So
right, but something that we've been saying the whole time is connect with others, and that's kind of one of the foundations that you're doing is you're helping people connect through coffee. And what a better way? Go sit down, have a cup of coffee with somebody, have a conversation. Connect. Anybody can connect to you too. And yes, after our first meeting, I had to order some coffee. I had to actually try out, do a little product.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I guess I'm about to say this and sound surprised. I shouldn't. It's really good.
Yes, it is.
And it's going to make awesome Christmas gifts. I can't wait, that kind of thing.
Do you remember, Stephanie, who you bought it from?
I do. Daniel.
Daniel Leotis?
Yes. So he's my
that's
guy.
Something to kind of tell the audience, man.
Yeah, you didn't tell them about that part, because that's kind of cool, because I now have a guy that I'm buying coffee from.
So one of the things that Brad was just always frustrated with him was how many, quote, veteran companies would get started, and before you knew it, they kind of lost sight of the veteran. They made it, their companies were going well. And so we didn't say we were above that, right? We didn't say that, hey, we're going to make a big profit, and all of a sudden, whatever we forget, the veteran, leave the individual veteran behind. So we implemented something that the veteran is always first. So meaning we have what we call the vet generator. Because we're all 1099s and we're in a rank structure, it has to mean something to gain rank. So when you gain rank, you get put into what's called the vet generator. So when at the end of checkout, the system will have all of our team leads in there, and then it will randomly generate 4 veterans for you to choose from. And so you can either lock into that veteran and go back to that veteran each time you purchase coffee, and that 20% of your purchase is going right to that veteran, or you can do it each time. You can come up with a new one each time. Our hope is that you kind of lock into somebody, and ideally you could actually go meet Daniel if you wanted to at a local farmer's market. And that's the next level. As we get bigger and bigger, we get more leaders. We're going to get more detailed into, if you're on California, the West Coast, you're going to get leaders that are within 50-mile radius of you, so that you can go meet your veteran. It's the whole idea of making things sticky too. From a business perspective, how do we you can go buy any coffee. There's great coffee out there. I would say ours is pretty darn good. we get the top 20%. We do single origin only. We don't blend it with anything. I'll put our coffee up against we're a specialty grade coffee if you grade it out. Our Kona bean is actually the top 5%. It's pretty expensive, but that's a pure Kona coffee. So our motto is we're going to have the best salesforce. We're going to have the best products. And eventually what we want to do is we want to have a marketplace where it's not just coffee. We're working on a beard oil line right now, things that are annuity, reusables, things like that. But hopefully what happens is now Daniel, and this is the process. So now Daniel, one day you're like, hey, it's Christmas. I wonder what else Daniel has in his marketplace. We could eventually have hunting and fishing, oil, beard oil products, soap products, things like that. And you're like, oh, I'm going to do a little basket for Aunt Amanda out in. And so now Daniel is getting a nice commission check based on, and hopefully he's interacting with you as well. Or maybe you follow him on Instagram and Facebook. So.
And that's the neat thing. I mean, just the fact you get a handwritten note saying thanks, we don't do that anymore.
Right.
And so, I mean, just that little bitty thing of, hey, thanks. I hope you really enjoy your coffee. Let me know if you need anything else, is just, it instantly.
And Daniel is one that is amazing. He's a Marine. And this is something else that I think that we need to touch on here. When I was at an event with him last month, and we were just sitting there chit-chatting. He goes, man, you know what? I wish I would have had this when I came out. And his point was, I was a young Marine and I was, fired and, had a lot of vinegar in me. And he said, if I would have introduced somebody to my coffee and they'd have said, I don't want any, he goes, I probably would have almost wanted to fight him. How dare you not want to buy my coffee? And it's like, this is for, and he said, I struggled a lot because of that. And he goes, I can't wait till we get to the point where we're getting people fresh out of the military and they're joining us and we're mentoring them. And that's the whole idea is that we have positively reintegrated veterans, working with, guys that are just coming out, and just to have that presence. But even one event could make the difference of a young veteran just getting disengaged and getting frustrated with life. He will always have Daniel to come back to and say, hey man, I know I did that event with you and I've been absent for a while, but I need it back. I didn't think, I thought I was big enough, bad enough. I didn't need it, but I sure would like to come talk with you again. Do you mind? It gets me emotional because it doesn't exist. I mean, it's starting to take form, but Daniel's a guy that like literally he couldn't stutter through a conversation about coffee. Today, if you go see Daniel at the Edmond Farmers Market, man, it's like an orchestra, man. He's engaging people that are coming by as he's selling you coffee. But the cool thing is he's taken it to another level, because in sales and communication is, how do you engage somebody that's coming up to you that you're already talking to you, but you make you feel very good about he's listening, right? And that's the next level. But he's got a person that went by that he connected with, that they're going to circle back. They're going to come back and talk to him because he engaged him. Yeah. And I mean, and his numbers are huge. I mean, his numbers are just great. And he recruits, he pulls people in. And it's phenomenal to watch him work. I was all inspired, like, man, I got to step my game up. These guys are getting it.
And he had no idea we were going to talk about him either on a podcast. So
that's right.
He's gonna be like, wait, who does sell coffee too?
He'll probably remember you. I mean,
I know. So, but that's the cool thing too, is you guys, yes, y'all have an amazing website too. So people can go straight to the website, buy the coffee, but you're out in the community. I mean, the other Friday night at my kids' high school football game, you guys were a sponsor, and they announced you. And I remember the mom sitting next to me. She goes, did they say Stars and Stripe? And I was like, no, they said Scars and Stripe. Let me tell you about them. And she was like, no, I hadn't heard about them. I was like, the best coffee ever. I go, but here, let me tell you about who they are. Because again, I kind of say, yeah, the coffee's good, but it's not about the coffee.
It's not about
who they are. And so it's funny how, it starts having these conversations. So, with that. Amanda, you had some questions.
Yes, and pardon the baby in the background. Okay, so just some fun questions, just so in the spirit, so we can get to know each other more. What bucket list item do you want to check off in the next 6 months?
Ooh, I want a brick and mortar.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I want our first actual headquarters with a coffee shop, a marketplace, and an education center for veterans.
Yeah. You talked a lot about that, about having a place that, yes, the public can come for the coffee shop, but then about having that center for veterans to come and do training, education, all kinds of neat things. Yeah. So
that's really awesome. I love that. Stephanie, you want to jump in on this one too?
Oh, I would love to in the next 6 months be able to travel overseas, but I'm going to pretend like we're not having still the pandemic, but that would be a bucket list for me. So
no joke, right there with you. All right, the second one I've got is
no, you don't pass.
Oh, come on.
You don't need a pass. Oh, what's up?
She wants a nap.
Look at that.
I don't know. 6 months. I would love to visit like the whole Star Wars thing, like Disney World, and make my own little BB-8. It's kind of lame, but I'm a little obsessed. So
You have to explain what's a BB-8.
shut the front door. Really? Just Google.
Like RT? Is that a R2D2?
Yeah, the best droid.
You're. Oh, okay. It's the best droid. Okay.
Best droid ever.
I don't have mine here. It's at home, or I'd show you my.
You have one?
I'm like going through each stuff on the table. I'm like, where's the end?
I know. I've got a little BB-8. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. So second question: what fictional family would you most like to join?
Fictional family I'd most like to join. Gosh, Stephanie, you go first.
Oh my gosh, that's what I was trying to think. Fictional family.
Wow, that's an interesting one. That's probably. I don't know. That'd be cool to be the Jetsons.
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, like teleport places or whatever. Have your little spaceship running around.
That's cool. All right.
Fun. That'd be pretty fun. I can deliver coffee in it.
Right. Right.
I mean, I could be the coolest coffee company ever.
Everybody.
I know. See, I went straight to the Griswolds, between all their vacations and stuff, to have that mom and dad would be fun. But
yeah, I like that.
Are
they fictional actually? Because I see them.
I know. That's why I was like, well, semi.
That's my relatives. What are you talking about?
I know. Exactly.
I love it. This is probably no surprise to Stephanie. I would do the Addams Family. I think.
Are you a big Halloween person?
I do. I love Halloween. I do.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We are so we did we did a Halloween trip last year. My youngest, had been begging me for it. So we did an RV trip. We took 7 of his friends during COVID. It was amazing. We went to San Antonio, did one there, Austin, cool. Fort Worth, Denton. He snuck the Denton one on me too. We literally stop at a gas station. I'm done. 4 days with 7 kids. I'm done. We stop at a gas station and he gets on his phone. He goes, Dad, there's a haunted house 6 miles up the road. Literally, I'm like, oh God. Okay, let's go check it out. We had a great time.
Well,
that's awesome.
Not that you can tell, but Denton was my stomping ground. So yes, Denton's got some pretty good Halloween haunted houses and fields and all kinds of things.
That's what it was. It was
a lot of Texas.
Oh, look at that guy, man! Turn it upside down; it'd be better.
Yeah, especially this one, right?
That benefits Texas, so yeah, keep buying it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, last question. And in the spirit of Halloween, choose one famous person you would want on your team during a zombie apocalypse.
Well, Woody Harrelson, of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a pretty good one.
So.
That's a pretty good one. Yeah. I mean, come on, the double tap. That's pretty good.
I know. I'm like,
gosh.
Awesome.
I mean,
I'm not a Walking Dead. I still cannot get through the first 20 minutes. So, I mean, I can watch vampires. I can do everything, but I can't do zombies. I don't know what that is. So I don't know any of the characters from Walking Dead, but I'm sure there's some good ones on that one too.
I love it.
Of course there is.
I went with Mila, what's her name? Mila Djokovic. She was like all the Resident Evil. She's now in Monster
Hunter.
Oh yeah.
I feel like she could really help us succeed.
Yeah.
You bring up a good point. If we're going to go that way, I'm going with Wesley Snipes in Blade.
Good.
Blade. Yes. Yeah.
And with those, how could you go 2 swords working at the same time? Half vampire, half human. Let's get them.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I forgot about Blade.
I know. And if I was going green shoe team, it's Amanda. Yeah. She's going to take anybody out. So
like a superhero Amanda.
I know.
That's funny. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a compliment.
Chad, this was awesome. Okay, tell people again how they can get to you or get to any of your folks.
scarsandstripescoffee.com, scarsandstripescoffee.com. Check us out on our Instagram and Facebook, as long as it's still around, and our YouTube, same thing.
Yeah. And again, it's awesome. And you can get them anywhere. So reach out, share with friends and family. And like I said, let's kind of keep this thing exploding with all
absolutely.
that. So yeah, absolutely. So, hey guys, thanks for joining us as always with Green Shoe Conversations. If there's anything you want us to talk about, reach out. You can find us at all the socials, as Amanda will tell you. Again, most of the time, Facebook and Instagram, but you can also, our website at greenshoe.org, you can get any of us and let us know if you'd like to hear any conversations, but we will be here and waiting. So thanks.